Some things that I think are important to know that affect the price of your insurance. So the zip code, or where you're at, is going to be a rating basis. So each area has a different base rating basis, and they're drawing on law of large numbers there of like how often are accidents happening? When an accident happens, how much do they cost? And so they kind of create these generalities by each geographical location that affects the premium. So where you live affects your premium. Your driving history affects your premium. Obviously, if you have tickets and accidents, your premiums are going to be more than if you have no tickets or accidents. So driving history makes a big difference in your premium. The vehicle that you have is going to be different. So it's not just one price no matter what. The value of your vehicle is going to affect the cost of comprehensive collision. The curb weight versus your horsepower affects liability. They come up with symbols for each vehicle that is going to affect the rating on that vehicle. So even though sometimes it might be a newer vehicle, has a lot of safety features, that also still might be more expensive, because if the vehicle is damaged, the cost of repair is a lot higher. Or maybe that type of vehicle is more sporty, and so people tend to drive more aggressive, and in general, those vehicles get into more accidents. That's going to affect the cost. Or maybe it's a heavy vehicle. It's a bigger vehicle and it's a heavy vehicle. So when they hit somebody, it causes more damage to the other person. So there's a lot of those sort of factors inside of the vehicles that make a difference of how much your insurance is going to cost. And this is something I tell people all the time, is like, when you're shopping for vehicles, it's a good idea to talk to your insurance agent and just say, hey, these are the cars I'm looking at. Tell me what that's going to do to my insurance premium. Because sometimes can be surprising, like, oh, wow, wait, that's going to cost me an extra $100 a month just because it's this type of vehicle versus that type of vehicle. It might make a big difference in your budgeting. So make sure that you think about that and talk to the agent as you're shopping for vehicles. Something that doesn't affect your price, and this is something I've heard since I was a teenager, like that red cars are surcharged. The insurance company doesn't care what color the car is. That's not going to affect the price, but the type of car will. But the color of the car is not going to affect your price. Another thing that to kind of think about is, in general, for saving money, because that's always a big thing. Whenever someone's looking at auto insurance, they're always like, how much can I save? How do I save it? So some things to think about when you're looking to save money on your auto insurance. We talked about one was the deductible already. The other one would be to look about telematics. Like if your company, the company that you're using, offers any sort of telematics service, which would be something that's either plugging into the car or an app that you're downloading on your phone, and it is going to track you. And so sometimes that can feel invasive, but it's tracking for like, how often do you speed? How often do you brake hard? How often are you texting and driving or talking on your phone while driving? And these are all very clear indicators of loss. So the insurance companies are able to offer deeper discounts, or some of the companies will surcharge you, but most of them are going to give you the opportunity to earn more discounts by having better than average driving behavior. So that's something that's really important. The deductibles come back to that, because that's something that a lot of people don't think about. The other one is ancillary coverages, right? So be careful that you're not buying coverages that you don't need. And so walk through that with your agents and say, hey, what coverages are on here that are more optional? And give me that breakdown of how much will I save if I take towing off, if I take rental car coverage off, things like that, because that's a great area to look at saving. And then you start working through more optional coverages. The other one that's very commonly missed is your pay plans. So most companies are going to give you a different rate if you have full pay, which is I'm paying for the whole 6 months or the whole year at a time. Or if I'm going to pay monthly, am I paying automatic payments out of my account, or am I writing checks? Because if I do automatic payments, almost every company that I've seen will give you a better rate. So make sure that your pay plans are in line with what you're comfortable with, but also make sure that you're maximizing the discount that's available through your pay plan. The other one that I would say is important to make sure of, and you hear this a lot, but it is really important to look at, is the bundling aspect. So multiple cars gives you discounts. Most companies will give you discounts if you have, auto and home insurance together, or auto and life insurance together, or if you own a business. A lot of times having that business insured with the same company also gives you discounts. The companies are smart enough. They go, hey, we could service one client more effectively that has, 3 or 5 policies with us than we could service 5 clients that all have one policy with us. So they're passing that savings on to you when you can bundle those things together. So bundling is important. Make sure that your pay plan is right. Make sure that your deductibles are as high as that you're comfortable with. And then, looking at telematics, and then asking them, are there any other things that they offer discounts for? So a lot of times companies will have discounts for certain occupations. They call them affinity groups. So teachers and doctors, police officers, firefighters, retired military. Like, there's a lot of different types of options of occupations that give you additional discounts. So make sure you ask if they have any occupational discounts that you might qualify for. So it's a good idea just to kind of walk through all of those, and each company is going to be slightly different in how that works. So that's the one part that can be a little bit difficult. There's some common ones, but some of those extra ones like occupational discounts will vary from company to company. So it might just be a good idea to ask them, are there any other discounts that I could qualify for? And then they should be able to give you kind of that list of additional discounts.